Welcome to Blue Collar Realist. We're going to talk about time. And it's funny because my watch actually just died at 6:30. And it's not 6:30. So, relativity of time. Let's talk about the fact that it's a man-made concept.
Mm-hmm.
That we do just kind of position ourselves to realize what time is based off of structures, whether it be the sun, the moon, rotation. You know, we do all our days based off of a full rotation of the sun, which is followed by the moon. But does time actually exist?
See, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, from a personal standpoint, time has to exist, but does it have to be what we have made it? No.
It was defined by man. Time is actually there. It has become a thing, almost like an invention, that we actually have time because we created clocks, we created time zones, we created specifications for it based off of the rotation of the stars and the sun and the moon. So time is a real thing.
Right.
Whether people want to argue that or not. But the underlying statement is that all time is relative, which means that no matter what constructs we put on it, it is still, it's trackable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, it can change based off of our construct, so does it really exist?
Well, and it's the perception of it, too. I mean,
exactly.
different people at different ages and different walks of life perceive time differently. Not only that, but different species.
Oh, absolutely.
Even experience time
hummingbird
differently. Yeah.
Check it out. The hummingbird
in slow motion. To that.
Yeah, the hummingbird flaps his wings so many times per second that I'm not going to say it slows down time, but their perception of time is different than ours.
Mm-hmm.
So really, does time exist, or is it just a facade of our mind?
I think time is
something we put together.
Time is kind of like, I think in a good analogy, time is kind of like a shadow. A shadow isn't a thing that actually exists. You can perceive it, but it's really just the absence of light.
Oh,
it's covering the light. You know what I mean? And that's basically what time is. It's our perception of something that isn't really there.
I like that.
It's what isn't there.
It's measurable by what's there.
Yeah.
But what's there could change, thereby twisting what time really is.
It's built into our DNA to perceive it that certain way because it was beneficial to our species.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah. I mean, what us as a species, what time is relevant to touch a couple things that he mentioned earlier. Time, what we've evolved into, and yes, I said evolved, is based on the solar and lunar cycles.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's what our body's embodiment of life on this planet, not just humans, but animals, plants, everything, has adapted to that type of cycle. Now, when it comes into modern time, everything has been adapted and changed and fixed, actually because of the rail system.
Yeah.
That's why our concept of time now is so fixed and precise, is because
horseback is a lot slower than trains.
Exactly. So at that point in time, where you were going before we had the power of locomotion and moving forward at a faster rate, it was irrelevant. It didn't matter if, say, it's 4 o'clock here and it's 3:30, 20 miles from here, just because of the position of the sun. It doesn't make a difference. But since we've been able to move forward faster, that's why we've needed that fixation in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like I was talking about,
time and all that,
talking about earlier is you don't want to leave the East Coast of Florida going west as the world turns. As the sun turns, you don't want to leave the east and go to the west, carrying a payload at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, whenever you end up arriving at what you would perceive as 7 or 8 o'clock, but it's dark. I might actually have that backwards.
It is backwards because
I'm pretty sure it's backwards. So say you were in the west and did that, you'd be chasing the sun, so to speak. So for travel purposes, since it had excelled so much via train, you would be going faster than what your mind could keep up with. Would that make sense?
Well, that's where the
So you
relevance
travel
of time.
faster. Say you end up in the East Coast, and it'd be dark by the time you got there.
Yeah.
Well, you have to establish time zones so that you're kind of working on the same schedule gradually across the nation in order to be able to, in this scenario, provide goods in a proper time where you're not showing up with a truckload of stuff and people are sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, they're not on operational hours, is what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Really,
yeah.
You know?
What's really weird is when you cross, if you fly from Japan to Hawaii, you actually cross I think it's called the International Date Line.
Yes.
And you actually are, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think you arrive before you left.
Yes, before you left.
Yeah, and it's really weird.
It's a really wild
You're not
concept.
going back in time, but you're going back into our construct of time.
Well, people are trying to partialize the sun going across our Earth. So they're trying to compartmentalize everything. It's what people do best.
Yeah.
People want straight, tight corners.
Structure.
They want structure.
Yeah,
You know, the free flow works for some people, but most people they want sharp edges, the whole confined, being able to really identify with what we have, and time's no different. Time is no different. I mean, that's why the old news studios, you'd see a plethora of clocks up there because it's different time zones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're talking about this topic, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning over here in China.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You look right up, and it's wild even thinking about that time wasn't really an issue before because people had shorter distances that they were willing to go.
Or even able to go.
To go. Yeah. So, you know, I could walk all day long and I'll get about 8 miles away. I don't know the exacts. I don't walk. Just don't.
No need to at this point.
Yeah, I don't need to walk. I got a truck. But they would measure their time of day by how far they could walk.
Yeah.
Well, whenever trains came around, like you said, I mean, that quadrupled, triple. It was a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
A huge difference.
Huge.
In being able to go from here to here
difference.
in a smaller amount of time. So, yes, they had to compartmentalize the idea of time to fit kind of a schedule of what they're able to achieve and when they needed to achieve it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I mean, dropping back to the basis of what you were saying, does time exist? Mm-hmm. And like I said,
we made it exist.
Or
at least it did exist, but it had never been cataloged. So to speak.
Me personally, I think if you look at the broad picture, the bigger picture, besides us, besides industry, besides trains, look at the bigger picture, the universe, everything. Time has to exist in order for things for us, for anything to exist.
One word: progression.
Yes.
And not in a liberal sense or a political sense.
Time probably does not exist.
It may or may not exist. I don't know. But when it comes down to everything that we take in, that is relevant to our existence, I believe time has to exist in one way, shape, or form. Maybe not as how we perceive it.
Yeah. No. It is definitely there in its soulful ways. Like there is definitely an aptitude that completely embodies a time frame.
Yeah.
Like it's there. We happen to put a name on it, so to speak.
Yeah, and we also like you said, we catalog it. We take into the point of measurements of what we're doing.
Yes, and it happens due to hierarchy.
You think it'd be safe to say that time is a byproduct of gravity?
I don't know if it's a byproduct of gravity, but I think time is influenced by it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a link there.
Well, of course,
there's gravity and time.
Well, gravity pulls everything down, also slows things down.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of gravity speeds things up. So definitely there's a correlation, but I don't think that in our modern age that anyone really cares about that. They kind of go off of the clock. Like mine died, and all day long I've been looking at it because, of course, I wasn't at home. Couldn't just like switch out a watch or anything like that. I just had it on my wrist. But I caught myself many times going. And sometimes I think, does it matter? Does it even fucking matter?
Well, see, that's the problem is that everything.
Number one cuss word.
Yeah.
It's like we've
does it matter? I mean, we've put our own shackles on ourselves by basing our life based off on time instead of infinite experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We could have totally just said, the heck with it, we're going to go do whatever we want to do, and it doesn't matter what time we get back. We might go based off of, this is where it started, might go based off of, oh man, I'm on this island I canoed to, and the sun's starting to go down. I got to get back before the sun gets down, or I'm not going to be able to see what I'm doing to unload my canoe, load it back up, and get home. That's where it started.
Yeah. Survival.
People's fear of uncertainty. Not necessarily survival. I mean, if you're a badass, if you're the Rock and you're taking down a tiger, it doesn't matter if it's day or night, then it doesn't really matter. It's not survival. It is uncertainty of what could happen whenever you can't see anything. Back in the day, we didn't have electricity. Back in the day, we had to make sure we were in time with a certain turning of the sun and the moon. So we put constraints on it to remind us of whenever we had a time that we had to get back in. We did it for protection, but uncertainty as well. Like, when we only had candles, like, oh, we better get back to the house and light our candles so we can see the poop.
You got to plant your crops at a certain time of the year so they'll yield.
No, and that's a big thing too. Farming had a huge, I mean, well, whatever. We have daylight savings time, and that's thanks to farming. I understand. It originally started out with having to be able to farm proper times and the excavation of the farming. You know.
Well, it was made because during the winter time, it would get darker earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's why they changed the time so people could still have more daylight for farming. That's why they have that.
Yep.
You know, nowadays it's completely useless because they're just going to work anyway.
You can farm anywhere.
Yeah, you can farm anywhere.
Literally, in this day and age, you can do aquaponics indoors. You can do hydroponics indoors. Like, there's no excuse anymore.
Right.
There's not. I mean, you can farm. I can farm in my damn closet. Not that I'm gonna, but I could. I could grow some tomato plants in there and some squash. Yeah. You can farm anywhere. We have the technology and capability to pretty much produce food anytime we want, wherever we want.
Yeah, not just plants, but animals too.
Yeah, animals too. I mean, we have.
It's kind of sad, but
it's true.
It's true.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, you can totally farm anything anywhere, whether it be a biological plant or a biological living animal.
Have you guys ever thought of this? I thought it was kind of interesting.
Nope.
The calendars throughout the past 1,000 years have definitely changed.
Oh yeah,
shortened. So I wonder, like, it's definitely not 1,000 years ago. Like 1 AD is not 1,000, or I mean 2,000 years ago.
Our whole calendar period
is
2018
years ago. It's probably different than that because the calendars have changed. We've probably lost years.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like there's actually a big tinfoil hat theory that what was it? What dynasty never existed?
Of what culture?
I'm trying to think. About it. I think it's a lost notion, but there are Chinese dynasties actually that have been completely lost because of the bridge of calendars. Yeah, and how they've adjusted calendars have completely, I hate to say it, but kind of wiped out some history.
Yeah.
Even though we have remnants of the history, but we can't place it properly because calendars are all messed up.
I never even thought of that. You got different calendars from around the world competing with each other.
You really do.
They're all different.
And that goes back to the Aztecs. Even the Aztecs had their own calendar. Hell, we were supposed to. The end of the world was 2012. I know because I threw a big party for it. But I did. I gave out prizes and everything. Met some good people. But calendars they're worth a reference.
Mhm.
They're not worth basis. Big difference.
Mhm.
I'm not going to base my life on, I mean, I do. We all do.
I mean,
We
you
all
got
base
it
our
to
life
be
on a calendar now.
productive somewhat,
But
yeah.
you don't have to. That's the thing. I mean,
Well, it depends on where you are, though. Again, back to
relevance, yeah.
well, relativity. We're relevant to you. So yeah, here in Florida, technically we really don't have to live by a calendar. Now, if you live up north, you kind of do.
Well, because of the snow and everything?
Exactly. Because
harsher weather.
Well, because the
harsher
seasons
climates.
actually impact your life majorly up north.
I can see that.
So
That's why I don't live up there.
Yeah, but here in a subtropical area,
we got hurricanes, though. That means take a break from work and party a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, that's one part of it. Yeah.
It's one of the things.
Yeah, but I mean, again,
Getting a little old for that, but
it comes down to, I hate beating a dead horse here, but relativity. Everything we do is relative.
Everything in life is.
You're
right.
To everything. It's whether it's based on time or not. It's down to relative perspective.
Everything.
Every single thing that you do.
Even good or evil.
Yeah, good and evil. That's definitely
hey,
relative.
Even relatively goes back to the side of what side of the fence is better? Is the grass greener over there?
Yeah.
It's relative.
Yeah, it's relative.
Yeah,
it's
all
all
like grass.
It's all in your percent. Yeah, exactly.
What if I don't like grass?
Yeah, what if I like playing in the mud?
Perfect answer to that.
No pun intended there, but.
What was that?
I said, what if I like playing in the mud, but no pun intended.
Yeah.
But I mean,
everything is relative, and time is no exception. And you can let it rule your life. We all do to an extent, but you don't have to.
Right,
is what we're saying.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Like really opening up and grasping what you can be. A part of that is getting rid of time. Not totally. I mean, you can't get rid of it totally.
Exactly.
You can't, because our whole world that you're trying to thrive in relies on relative time.
You control time. Time doesn't control you.
Exactly.
Except for when my boss tells me I need to clock in before 8 o'clock.
See? And that's relative, too, to the fact that you chose that job.
Well,
just like I chose my job, and my shit's relative to me being on time, too.
I'm pretty happy with the fact that I clock in at 8 o'clock instead of 6.
I clock in at 7:30 now.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm happy with that relative.
My shit's relative to your shit.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, you're going to have to let it control you until you can...
there are people that absolutely let it control them. From what I've witnessed, it's not a great thing. It's a very controlling demeanor in life. It's one of those things that you almost can't escape, but a little bit. You can a little bit. You can get away from it for a little while. Yeah. You can bend the rules, but time has a constraint on us, and it's a damn shame. Mm-hmm. As you become an adult, you gain more responsibility. You gain more things that you have to do that are time constrained, so you become a slave to time. Got to be a Toys R Us kid. It'd be great. I don't want to grow up.
Well, on that note of time, we are running short on it.
But it's been an interesting conversation.
That it has.
We can continue it again if y'all want to. If you do, then go ahead and like us. Go on YouTube. Like us on Blue Collar Realist. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably watching where it's coming from, which is Blue Collar Realist Facebook. Other than that, take it easy and don't let time control you.
Yes, and if you'd like to hear some more, if you'd like to get a little bit deeper into it, the scientific outlook on time and relativity, feel free to comment because I'd love to fill you in. All right.
Yeah.
It's Blue Collar Realist. We are out.
Good night, guys.
Peace.